Dun, 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 dun. Hello and welcome to the JR's Gaming Podcast, where we talk about the rise of Nintendo, what this great gaming franchise has in store for us in the future of gaming, and of course the country from which it was born, Japan. I am neither the J nor the R. Today you'll be listening to me, Elijah Turp, as I take you through the news of the week, Mario movie and Nintendo related discussions, and a bit of music. The reason I'm making this episode alone today is because Judah is off visiting his family down south. While he has a lovely time, I've offered to fill in, so you still all get an episode. Hopefully we can get a story from him about his trip next week. I was also told to tell you this won't be uploaded on Saturday, it'll be uploaded on Sunday. But I've only just realised my mistake with that. You won't be listening to this until at least Sunday. So I can't really warn you in advance. But hey ho, I said it at least. So I haven't been up to much this week. I think I've just done jogging. You know, it's the lead up to Easter, so I'm recording this on Thursday. And tomorrow I've got a Good Friday walk, and then it's the Easter weekend. So that'll be fun, that'll be interesting. Other than that, I've been, just doing nothing really this week. Been, jogging, playing games, waiting for Easter. Hopefully you've all been doing well. News of the week. So, Creatures Inc. CEO steps down amidst high-level shakeup at Pokémon Studio. Creatures Inc., one of the main controlling interests in the Pokémon franchise, has seen a significant shakeup as its CEO/president and executive vice president have both stepped down. For those of you who don't know, the Pokémon franchise is kind of built up of multiple different companies. You know, there's Creatures Inc., which works on like the 3D models. There's obviously Game Freak, which actually makes the games. There's the Pokemon Company, which deals with branding, and there's things for the anime and the TCG and all sorts. So although you think of Pokemon as one thing, there's a lot that goes into it. As noticed by Cerebi owner Joe Merrick, Tsunekazu Ishihara and Hirokazu Tanaka have both left their roles as CEO and Executive Vice President respectively. Yuji Kitano succeeds Ishihara in his role as President, and Toмотaka Komura will take the role of Executive Vice President. Tsunekazu Ishihara is probably best known to the Pokemon fans as the main host of Pokemon Presents, the live streams. At the time of writing, Ishihara remains the CEO of the Pokemon Company, one of the other firms with a controlling interest in the Pokemon franchise. While each of Pokemon's stakeholders' roles in the creation of the games is rarely made clear, Creatures Inc. is largely credited in recent Pokemon titles with creating models for the Pokemon themselves. However, the studio did also develop the 3DS Detective Pikachu title and is currently reportedly working on the long-promised sequel to that game. Pokémon CG Studio, which is a division within Creatures, also reportedly assisted in the modelling work for the Detective Pikachu film. The Pokémon Company announced a 2-part Pokémon Scarlet and Violet expansion earlier this year, The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero Part 1, The Teal Mask, and Part 2, The Indigo Disc. They will be released this fall/autumn and winter this year. Last month, a data mined list of around 220 Pokemon that will be seemingly returning to Scarlet and Violet as part of its upcoming DLC was posted online. Going over this news. So, there's no reason explained so far, at least, why they've stepped down from Creatures Inc. Perhaps for Ishihara it was to focus on the Pokemon Company, but that is then a concern that he may also leave the Pokemon Company. Which would be devastating. He is like a face of these Pokemon Presents live streams, and he's such a lovely person. It's really nice. It's like heartwarming to see him all the time. So he will be missed dearly if he does leave. But I don't know. I don't think he will leave. I hope he doesn't. But it is an interesting move for him to step down from his partner company as the CEO. Amongst this news, I mentioned a sequel to the Detective Pikachu game, but that may now be put on hold if the two lead people of the company have stepped down. Hopefully that won't hinder the progress of that game's creation too much, but we can't say for sure yet. And then with the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet expansion, it makes sense. We know they're going to add more Pokemon because they keep National Dex cutting the Pokemon recently, which I certainly have my opinions on, but it saves them time and they are under huge pressure from the Pokemon Company. Game Freak is under huge pressure to actually release everything at a certain time. Other miscellaneous news to do with Nintendo. So Nintendo in Japan is reimbursing Eshop money for Japanese customers. So any money left over on their account can be refunded to them rather than put on their Switch account, which I think is very good. There's no news of that happening in the West just yet, but at least the Japanese Nintendo fans can have that. I'm going to be talking about the Mario movie, but I wanted to randomly say that there were 2 release dates recently revealed. One about a Minecraft movie, which I didn't even know was a thing. Apparently that's, if not delayed, due to release on April 4th, 2025. And then the FNAF movie, because we were talking about FNAF last week, thought I might as well bring it up. That's actually going to be released this year, October 27th. So very exciting there. I'm certainly going to watch those. Well, maybe not Minecraft, but I'll definitely watch the FNAF movie, because that should be interesting. So in this next segment, I'll be reading both positive and negative reviews of the Mario Bros. Movie. I'm sure a lot of you will have read reviews from popular article sources or YouTubers, but not that many people check the reviews on Google. The reviews of the people. I will avoid spoiler discussion, but I warn you there may be light spoilers during this segment. If you want to have a vague idea of the movie, then stick around. But if you would want to see the movie completely blind, then I recommend skipping ahead. I think it'd be more interesting to read more of the 4-star reviews. I see a lot of 5-star reviews kind of raving about the movie, saying, "Oh, it's brilliant. The characters are done well and everything's done well." But then I want I want a review from someone who's a bit older. So I'm going to look at the 4-star ones and some of the 1-stars, although I'm sure the 1-stars will be a bit dramatic. This 4-star review says, "As a Mario fan who is aware of Illumination's usual quality of films, I was worried that this movie was going to be a bad cash grab with unfunny humour and poor character choices. However, I was delightfully surprised when the movie opened up with music reorchestrated, fresh from the games. It made me hopeful within the first 5 minutes. I believe the quality barely shifted." I have actually read a lot about the music so far in these reviews. No, I haven't seen the Mario movie yet. It did just come out yesterday for me, and I'm a busy man usually, so saying that I haven't done anything all week, but I'm busy when I'm busy being at home. I will watch it though. I will get around to it, just not right away. But yeah, I've seen the music mentioned already quite a bit for these reviews that I've kind of skim read, and I'm interested to. I think I might listen to the score before I watch the movie. I might do that after this actually, because that seems quite interesting. So they continue speaking and say, "I intend to keep this short, but to summarise, the music was impeccable. I'm definitely going to listen to the soundtrack in my free time. It felt so well thought out, and at times subtly referencing themes from the original games. The characters were not butchered and seemed genuine. Peach is definitely slightly different to her usual approach, but the change was a good one as she didn't overstay her welcome and didn't feel like a completely new character either. The references never took away from the screen time of the scene and were usually extremely subtle. A fair few even got a laugh out of me and my friends. When they were centre stage, I didn't even mind that, as it felt completely natural in these two settings. I wish we got to see more of Luigi, as Charlie Day did an excellent job portraying this well-meaning scaredy cat, but when he is in a scene, he's always a joy to watch. Jack Black, of course, did an amazing job as always, playing the Lord Cooper himself, and his singing was somewhat out of place, but a very funny joke, that even repeated after the credits. The voice acting in general was joyous and full of energy without being too annoying. The only character I really had a problem with was Peach. The voice was not what I was expecting from the princess, but it grew on me over time and wasn't that bad once I got used to the new style of voice. So, TLDR, the movie was surprisingly good and probably Illumination's best film so far. I hope that they take this as a sign to work just as hard on future products. This is hopeful. I see a lot, I think 126 people found it helpful. It's a 4-star review saying it's not perfect, but it is very good. I think there definitely are, I've definitely seen some areas where, I feel like I felt quite uneven about it. I felt maybe, I don't know, like with Peach's voice, or hearing it in the trailers and things, I can actually agree it doesn't really feel the same as it would from the games normally. And obviously then same for Mario, but if it grows on you, then that's fine, that's good. Overall, so far, seems like people are enjoying it. Let's find another review. So I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but I am actually seeing a lot of people complain about the plot a bit, saying it's too simple. But then lots of the same people are justifying it, saying the Mario games are simple. So, makes sense. Fair enough. Alright, here's another review. Despite what many critics say, this is a great movie. I believe that this movie wasn't aiming to be a cinematic masterpiece, but rather give people a good time, which it largely succeeded in doing. It certainly left me very happy when exiting the theatre. This movie incorporates a technique that many often forget, which is to have fun. This can be seen in many of the Easter eggs and hints they drop throughout the film, many of which were very clever and made me happy to see. In addition, the movie was very humorous in many parts that had me and many other people laughing. The movie was astounding in the music department. Many of the classical songs from the franchise were referenced to, and were astonishingly well placed. Also, the voice acting was very well done. The characters' voices that I thought would leave me with an unsatisfied feeling actually grew on me, and the other character voices were incredibly well done. I came into the theatre excited to watch, and they delivered for what I had been hoping for, and so much more. The parts that I thought would bring the movie down, such as the comedy or voice acting, I was wrong about, and those doubts were quickly cleared, much to my own delight. It's a near flawless movie, in the sense that it had greatly achieved what I believe it was trying to do, and even people who may not be fans of the franchise could enjoy it. A great movie, one that I would 100% suggest if you're just looking for a great time and a good laugh. Okay, interesting. So it makes sense. It's quite a happy film. Just don't know what to say about it. It seems from the reviews and from what I've said, people are enjoying it. It's not deep, but it doesn't need to be deep, and it's not trying to be deep. I think that's what's important here. I feel like there will be a lot of critics who'll say, it's not that complex. But then, if it's not intending to be complex, is that much of a failure on, Illumix's or Nintendo's part? I don't think it is. So I think that's quite interesting. I see other people saying it's an instant classic. People saying made with a lot of care with the lore. Some people were very happy about how faithful this movie was to the original video games. As I'm sure we all know, a lot of video game movies aren't the best. In my opinion, things like the Assassin's Creed movie or the Sonic movie, they were a bit lacking. But it's good that other people, even though they had their doubts about the whole video game movie kind of thing, this went quite well. It was quite good. I see a lot of younger people extremely happy about it, very excited. And I'm reading a lot of the older generation, it seems, giving 3 and 4 star reviews, kind of saying, it's good to chill with your friends with this movie, it's a good pick, it's fun, but if you want a cinematic masterpiece, then move on. And yeah, makes sense. It is a children's movie, so you can't expect too much. But for the most part, I think everyone is saying it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I was going to read the 1-star reviews as well, but these 1-star reviews are very out of pocket, in the sense that I feel like these people haven't been a part of the franchise for a long time. Like someone saying, complaining about how Luigi's too incompetent and the scaredy cat, and he's meant to be Mario's equal. I feel like, have you not played or seen anything of Luigi in the last decade? Like, Luigi has been a scaredy cat, So yeah, I think I'll probably avoid these ones. Okay, my verdict, I haven't seen it yet, but my verdict of the reviews. Good animation, good music, better voice acting than expected. Some plot holes and story issues, story's a bit maybe shallow, but still entertaining. Overall, very fun. And I can see overall it's got a 4.6. Again, some of the reviews are a bit low on other articles, but I think that's just personally that's just a problem of the company's expecting too much from a children's movie, It's an adventure comedy. Simple, fun, you're just there for a good time and a good laugh. So yeah, what do you think of that? We would love to know, how many of you are actually going to go and see the movie, or if you've seen it, what do you think of it? Without spoiling it, because we haven't seen it yet. If you could tell us what you thought of it, what was good, what was bad, that'll be really helpful for us, and that'll be really interesting. We could read it out next week as well. So please feel free to do that. On to the next segment, Nintendo Music of the Week. So I've chosen the province battle themes from Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. I won't be talking too much about music theory. I think I'm more gonna just focus on the instrumentation and certain things like that. Okay, so this is the South Province battle theme. I think you'll immediately notice it's incredibly groovy. I'm hearing, if you can hear the drums, hear the hi-hats. It cuts out sometimes. It sounds like it goes like 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and 2 E and. So there's a rest after the end on a couple of those bars every now and then. Like if someone was drumming, this isn't live I don't think, but if someone was drumming and they were playing 16th straight with their right hand only, and they kind of got tired and they take a few breaks. That's what it sounds like to me. And for any of you wanting to know about leitmotifs in this piece and in other Scarlet and Violet pieces, I do have a whole video kind of reacting to pretty much the entire OST. So if you want to know more about Toby Fox and things like that, one of the composers to this game, go check it out. Overall, I have not much to say about this other than it's incredibly groovy, and I love it. The Wild West kind of sounding thing. This is West Province. I want you to think about time signatures here. I said I wouldn't do theory. We are in common time right now, which is 4/4. For those of you not knowing what 4/4 is, 4/4 means there are 4 crotchets per bar. A crotchet is a quarter note. So in a bar, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4. If a bar was 4/4. So doing it to this tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See? 4/4. Common time. I'm bringing this up because in a minute you'll need to understand 5/4 and 6/4/12/8. So keep time signatures in mind. Again, this is just a nice piece of music. They program the bass to go crazy. Right. If you hear the little clicky things, I don't know how you do that, but yeah. The little clicky things, that's an instrument called the castanets, I believe. So they are a Spanish little clicker instrument. Obviously, this, if you don't know, this game is set in Spain/Portugal, so it makes sense. Again, reoccurring melodies throughout all of these, but kind of broken up differently, which I think I like. Right. Were you listening to the time signature? When it loops around, I will start counting for you, because it is quite interesting. If you should be able to tell, this is not 4/4, this is not common time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's got one bar of 5, which is 5/4, and another bar, which is 6/4, realistically 12/8. For music people, you may understand that a bit better. But yeah, again, 4 is a quarter note, the 4 behind it is a quarter note, so 5/4 just means 5 quarter notes. That is the kind of... That is a quarter note's length. That is the beat. That is how long it lasts for. So yeah. If you hear that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It changes for this bit here. Purely into 6, 4, 12, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It stays in that. Also, I love these guitars. I'm a big fan of Spanish music. I have a whole playlist focusing on it. Oh, it's changed. Okay. Moving on. This, North Province. That was East, by the way. North Province. Can you hear the muted... There's a palm muted guitar really close to your right ear if you're wearing headphones. It comes in every now and then. Yeah. So, that, I have nothing to say other than I adore that. When mixing and with music and things, especially with like Spanish kind of music, I like that kind of mixing. When something's close to you, and it's just different every now and then, it gives a layer of depth to the music, like the production-wise, gives it kind of a distance. With all the guitars here, they're kind of strumming in a flamenco style, kind of. Which again is another Spanish thing-ish, I don't know. I'm not Spanish, I can't speak for them, but flamenco is commonly known to have that kind of Latino thing. Latino vibe, whatever you want to call it. If you also hear every now and then on the drums, you will hear an off hit. Like listen to the snare, which is on 2 and 4 right now. When they pull into the first groove, we'll listen to it in a second, you will hear that sometimes the snare sounds either quieter or louder or sharper. And this is because when they play it sharp, that's called a rim shot. So they're hitting, you heard it just then actually, they play the snare and the rim simultaneously, which creates a very sharp, loud, kind of sudden bang. So I think that's quite interesting. It did end, let me replay it. I like this one. Actually, if you watched my kind of reviewing Pokémon Scarlet and Violet soundtrack, this is my favourite piece. In the entire game, this one here is my favourite piece. The way the horns build up. And the little rides thrown in there. I really love it. With the strings, again, then repeating a melody that's been kind of whispered throughout the others. Like it's not in the main view, but you can tell there's something that links all these pieces together, and it is the melody, which was written by Toby Fox, by the way. Okay. If you've just listened to all 4 of them, again, I have not got much to say, not much to say, other than a few notes about the instrumentation, the time signatures, which are important to know your time signatures. I'm gonna set you guys homework, in a way. Or this week, because I haven't got much time, you know, I'm alone, so it's not much to bounce off or talk about. So because of that, I'm gonna ask you, the listeners, to, when you're listening to music, if you listen to music in your free time, which I hope you do, no, but if you're listening to free music in your free time, what did I just say? If you're listening to music in your free time, in your own time, I'd like you to try and count the time signature. Try and count how many beats per bar there are. If you can find the downbeat of each bar, then you can count in that bar how many beats there are. And if you just tap your foot using the tempo, if you can tap your foot 4 times for every bar at like a reasonable pace, then that will be 4/4, that will be common time. Perhaps it drags on a bit and it's 5/4. Perhaps it's a really random, perhaps it's a waltz, perhaps it's a kind of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, whatever it may be. I'd like you to just pay attention to that when you listen to your own music. And then maybe get back to me. Maybe if you feel like it, write in an email or a comment and I'll read it out. I'll ask you to send it to me next week. And I'll read it out and I'll just kind of listen to some of the songs that you've been listening to and that you've pointed out have an interesting time signature. So that is your homework. Or even if you don't want to send something in, that is something that I would like you to pay attention to. I received a question from my channel from a user called Temi. They ask, what video game soundtrack would you recommend listening to if you're someone who doesn't listen to video game music often? I would recommend, personally, there are 3 franchises I'd recommend listening to. I think if you're someone who doesn't listen to video game music often, I would say Xenoblade. Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3 have some of the best music I've ever heard in any video game, and I think they are widely accessible to people who don't usually listen to video game music. It's like if I told someone to listen to Pokémon music and they weren't really a fan of video game music, that would, maybe deter them a bit because it's not their kind of style. Or because it sounds a bit goofy or something, that they're just not used to it. But with Xenoblade, there are so many really good pieces of music in there, like just genuinely awe-inspiring and like just really impressive. Emotional, powerful, and it's a multi-genre OST for all 3 of those games. It goes from choir to emotional strings to, piano to metal and heavy rock and pop. Like there's a bit of everything there. And jazz for some of the games as well. There's a lot to explore there. So I would recommend listening to some of that if you're not used to, or if you don't often listen to video game music. So, Temi, I would recommend listening to the soundtracks of either Xenoblade 1, 2, or 3. Realistically, for you or anyone else interested, I would say try and find like a playlist on YouTube. Some people make long videos of like Xenoblade music to chill, study to, whatever. Or they just make playlists of the battle music. So that's what I would personally recommend. I could say Animal Crossing or Pokémon, but for someone who's not into video game music, those may deter you a bit. But yes, Xenoblade is beautiful. It's a Nintendo game as well. This is related to the podcast, so listen to it. Any Nintendo fans who don't know Xenoblade that well, I've gotten 2 of my friends very recently on Discord to consider playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on Switch, because it's a brilliant experience, and the music is brilliant, and the characters are brilliant, the story is brilliant. It's just a brilliant game. So I recommend it, and especially the music, yeah. Well, thank you for listening. I know this is a short episode, perhaps a bit of a weird one, but at least you had something to listen to today, rather than, something's better than nothing. And we'll be back next week. Please send in your questions and comments to jrsgaming135@gmail.com. Please subscribe or follow us on whatever platform you're listening from, and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, as it will help us out greatly and get the podcast around. Our socials are linked in the description: Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, website, and Discord. Until then, it's a goodbye from me. Oh, I should do an outro. Da 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 da. You're welcome.